On this edition of Wealth Strategies, we're joined by Aberdeen Asset Management's Peter Elston out of Singapore. Peter, let's get right into it. In China, we've had some pretty uneven earnings, a slowing macro environment, as well as elevated corporate debt levels. So how do you allocate to China given these conditions?
Well, we don't think you should allocate to China. China's been a very, very difficult place to invest, whether you're a portfolio investor or a foreign company trying to build a factory or a business. It's just been an incredibly hard place to invest. Returns have been generally pretty poor. So it's been a very difficult place to invest. I suppose the question is, why is that the case? And the fact is that minority shareholders have not shared in the wealth, have not shared in that sort of top line GDP growth, and then the question to ask is that changing? And I suppose it is changing. Things are, I suppose, improving. There is more talk of reform. There seems to be a little bit more of a focus on corporate governance, but it's certainly not enough to get us excited.
All right,
yet.
Peter, let's talk Asia's number 2 economy, another big stimulator in at least recent times. Now, Abi's big promises drove a lot of money into the stocks, though at Aberdeen you guys stayed underweight. Are we nearing the end of the Abenomics run now?
I think what Abe and his cabinet and his government have been trying to do is very admirable. Japan's economy has been in a very sort of weak position for so long that I think there was a need to try to invigorate animal spirits, to try and reignite animal spirits, whether that was through monetary policy or fiscal policy or structural reform. Abenomics has been a very serious and admirable attempt to do that. But it was a huge ask. It's like trying to sort of turn an oil tanker, not least because the structural headwinds that Japan faces. Japan's population is shrinking. Japan is an advanced country, so the scope for productivity growth is very limited. There's also massive amounts of debt at the government level. So that's, I think, holding things back. So, it's going to be very hard to succeed. But I'm not sure we can yet declare Abenomics to have failed.
All right, Peter, let me ask you this. You don't like Japan. You don't like China. Who do you like in emerging Asia with Fed tapering on the horizon?
India. India's a country that we've always, had a huge amount of success at finding really good companies. There's a number of MNCs, global MNCs, that have listed subsidiaries in India. And now these are companies, fast-moving consumer goods companies that in a developed world context would be very boring. They'd be dull, shampoo companies, soap companies, whatever it might be. But you put them in a high-growth context like India, and then you throw in wonderful management that has adopted the same sort of culture and practices of the parent company, and you have some really interesting companies.
Right.
Then you've got some good, other homegrown companies there that are worth buying. So India's one example of a country where we are heavily invested.